Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a horror series that has scared millions of people online. And it's not because of what you see, but what you think you see. We're talking about Alex Kister's analog horror masterpiece, The Mandela Catalogue. A world where, honestly, the most dangerous monster, it's the one that's already living inside your head. Yeah, you can just forget about your typical monsters, the ones that hunt you down and tear you limb from limb. The horror at the absolute core of this series it's way more insidious. It's this presence that worms its way inside your mind, completely twists your sense of reality, and then convinces you that the only way out is to turn on yourself. So, okay, what is this new kind of evil? I mean, to really get a grip on the unique dread the Mandela Catalogue serves up, we've got to start with its villains. We need to understand the alternates. So let's meet the alternates. These things are, well, they're mysterious. They might be extra-dimensional beings, we don't really know for sure. But what we do know is their goal, and it is brutally simple and horrifying. Wipe out the entire human race. But here's the twist. They're not doing it with a big, flashy invasion. Nope, they're using a quiet, patient, creeping infiltration that's designed to make us the architects of our own downfall. Right. So think about your average monster movie, right? It's almost always some huge global invasion. It's obvious, it's overwhelming, but alternates, they are completely different. They work on a household scale. They're not some rampaging beast. They're much more like a virus. And let's be real, a virus you can't even detect is so much more dangerous because it spreads long before anyone even knows they're infected. And that is the terrifying genius behind their whole strategy. So how exactly does this virus launch its attack? Well, its main weapon is a condition it actually induces in its victims. It's called metaphysical awareness disorder, or MAD for short. What happens is the alternates, they whisper information to you. Information that is so fundamentally hazardous to the human brain that hearing it triggers a total psychological collapse. We're talking extreme paranoia, vivid hallucinations, and this crushing, inescapable urge to destroy yourself. And just how effective is this weapon? The numbers here are just staggering. Get this, once a person gets MAD, there's a 97% fatality rate. 97%. And almost all of those deaths are from self-inflicted harm. It's a near-perfect weapon of psychological warfare. There's almost no defense. Okay, so we know what we're up against. Now, let's talk about where this whole nightmare goes down. Let's head to the completely doomed setting of Mandela County. The whole story plays out through this collection of, found footage from the 80s and 90s. So you're going to see things like corrupted training videos, these super creepy PSAs, and even old home recordings. And it all comes from this one fictional, totally isolated place, Mandela County, Wisconsin. It's this analog format, the VHS-style glitches and all, that gives the whole series its incredibly distinct, creepy, and just unsettlingly real vibe. And the way this county fell apart, man, it was terrifyingly fast. The first big outbreak of what we now call MAD that hit back in 1982, then that was followed by this absolutely horrifying wave of kids just vanishing throughout the 90s. As you'd expect, people started fleeing, the town just withered on the vine, and by 2009, Mandela County was officially declared a ghost town, a place completely and utterly lost to the alternates. But that raises a huge question, right? Where did these things even come from? You might be thinking this is a modern problem, something that popped up in the 20th century. But the chilling truth is, their plan is much, much older than that. And this is where the lore goes from creepy to just cosmically terrifying. The alternates, they've been with us for thousands of years. Their origins trace all the way back to the biblical era. The story goes that a super powerful alternate actually killed the archangel Gabriel and stole his identity. Then it used that holy trusted form to infect people like Mary and even Adam with the very first cases of MAD. It's an ancient deception. So, how did this ancient evil even get its foothold on our planet in the first place? Well, the lore says that after the fake Gabriel failed to stop Noah from building his ark, he punished him.
And how? By forcing an uninvited passenger on board, a single alternate. And it's this one creature hidden away amongst all the animals that is believed to be the ancestor of every single alternate that has ever existed.
I mean, this just gives you a sense of their insane patience, right? For literally thousands of years, they just hid in the shadows. Then, for reasons we still don't totally understand, the analog era, the 80s and 90s, that became their time to shine, their moment for widespread open activity. And now, in our digital world, the lore suggests they haven't gone anywhere. They've just slipped back into the shadows, waiting for the next perfect opportunity to strike.
So, over time, the few desperate humans left in this world have obviously tried to understand and classify their enemy. So let's take a look at the sort of field guide they've put together on the different types of alternates out there.
Okay, so the survivors have managed to identify 4 main types of these things. First, you've got the doppelganger. This is a perfect, totally indistinguishable copy of a person, the most common kind. Then there's the flawed impersonator. This is one that gets the copy wrong, leaving it with these bizarre, uncanny physical distortions. Easier to spot, but just as deadly. Third is the unspeakable. Think of this as a boss-level entity, like the false Gabriel, who might even be able to create other alternates. And finally, maybe the scariest of all, is the tulpa. This thing is literally born from thought and can appear through your TV screen or in a mirror. A true ghost in the machine. So, with this ancient, horrifying, shape-shifting enemy, how was anyone supposed to survive? Is there any hope at all? Well, the authorities in the story did provide some official guidance.
The government came up with the think principle. On the surface, it sounds kind of logical, right? Tell an adult, hurry to safety, identify what's different, neutralize the target, and know your place in reality. But this advice is just a cruel joke. I mean, think about it. How do you identify a perfect copy? Where exactly are you going to run from something that's already inside your head? And as for that whole neutralize the target part,
Yeah, about that. Here's the grim reality. There are zero reported successful cases of anyone killing an alternate. It's believed to be impossible. Fighting back physically is completely futile. For all intents and purposes, they're invincible. And that fact right there transforms this whole thing from a fight for survival into just an exercise in pure, absolute despair. And all of that leaves us with one final, very chilling thought. You see, the Mandela Catalogue was born out of the fears of the analog age, creepy broadcasts and glitchy VHS tapes. But its central question, it's more relevant right now than it has ever been. We live in a world of AI, of deepfakes, of constant digital manipulation. The line between what's real and what's a convincing fake is blurring more every single day. So the series leads us with a question for our own time. How can we ever really be certain who or what is on the other side of the screen?